Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nato with you here. 9-race Sunday card, and you can see it there. Another beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach. A fast main track, a firm turf course, Tapeta in play as well as we wrap up another 4-day racing week here at Gulfstream Park. The day after, a big stakes day yesterday on the 12-race card, and we'll talk a little bit about it in the lightning round. 3 stakes on the card yesterday. But, of course, Preakness 148 up at Pimlico, our sister track, and unfortunately, Kentucky Derby winner Mage couldn't get it done. He was a gallant third in the Preakness in a race that didn't have a lot of early pace, and National Treasure gutted it out on the lead. Hall of Famer John Velasquez, congratulations to him. We know him so well here in South Florida. Wins his first ever Preakness. Hard to believe, but the Hall of Famer wins his first ever Preakness, and we'll see what we get going forward from all the connections. But, Mage showed up, no doubt about that. Just didn't get the race dynamics to help him out. But ran very, very well in defeat. So that was good to see. But front and center here on a 9-race Sunday card to wrap things up. $100,000 in the gross jackpot Rainbow Six. That will kick off in race number 4, and it builds quickly around here. So it's a tricky sequence. There's a couple prices in here. We've got a good maiden special weight in the sequence as well. We'll get to it in a little bit. But the opener at 12:50 in the p.m. We route on the Tapeta. Maiden claimer 35,000, and it kicks off the early pick 5 as well. The pools were very, very healthy yesterday. No reason to think they'll be any different today. $48 ticket for me spreading in the opener that I will get to in a second. In race number 2, 4 deep there as well with Crossed Haste at a price for Jenna Antonucci. Race number 3, we've got the 8 Ilya on top for Jose D'Angelo. Has been very, very hot of late. Kizzy in race number 4, and we've got a replay of Kizzy and Sunatra racing together last time. And then the single, my best bet of the day, in race number 5 is the 10-horse Stealth 34 off the claim for Rohan Crichton, which we know is a very profitable, very deadly, potent angle. So we'll take that $48 ticket. Not a lot of scratches and changes on today's card. There is one in race number 1. The 3 Lovely Drama comes out. Another note, too, in that the 2 Queen Daymar is going to add blinkers here. Blinkers on the 2 Queen Daymar. The exciting part of the opener, and you can see I'm going 4 deep here. The exciting part of the opener is we welcome back Edgard Zayas after he was out with an injury for a couple weeks. Great to see him back, as talented a rider as we have here in South Florida. So we'll welcome him back, and I think he's on a good chance here to win his comeback race on Moontap, the daughter of Taprit, who had a little bit of a trip last time. We can take a look at that race last time, too. It was her debut, and she's going to go off the claim here for Safi Joseph Jr. and Ken Ramsey. She doesn't break. That's first and foremost. She spots the field 4 or 5 lengths early on, and then, she did get a little bit aided by the race flow from there, but right away, when you're going 2 turns on debut, it's just not ideal. And here she is now behind a wall of horses after spotting them several lengths early. She's going to end up finishing 4th, beaten 3 lengths in this spot, and I thought it was a pretty good effort overall. She was bet a little bit that day in the Kelsey Danner barn. She was 5-1 that day. She's even going to have a little more trouble here, but professional to thread her way through horses, and, she's running on here. She would have gotten 3rd in another stride, so I thought that was a very encouraging debut for Moontap. Safi claims her for 35, runs her back for 35. He's 24% off the claim. Ken Ramsey, an owner that wants his horses to run in spots where they're going to be competitive, where they're going to win races, and I think Moontap is eligible, especially when you look through the body of this field. No one has the upside, in my estimation, than Moontap. So I think she's in a good spot here right off the claim. Number 4, Rachel Song, is lightly raced for Bobby DeBona, who's been going good of late. And, that race last time on the Tapeta was, not only was it very good, it was very fast as well. When you run a 66 buyer, that's a big number to thoroughgraph accordingly, was good. So I think she's a major, major player in here. I just wonder if maybe if she comes back a little little bit because it was such a good run. The 2, Queen Daymar, as I mentioned, adds blinkers. That's a significant late change, too, because she's got no speed whatsoever. Maybe the blinkers sharpen her up a little bit. Carlos Perez makes a key equipment change. She's a maiden special weight drop or two out of a turf race. I don't think that's going to hurt her either because the group she faced last time, Well Into and Haystack, the top 3 finishers all came back to win. Well Into is a stakes caliber filly for Jonathan Thomas and George Strawbridge. So I think Queen Daymar comes out of a pretty good race. A little bit of a layoff. What do we get today? That remains to be seen. And then certainly Grand Birdie on the MSW drop for Victor Barboza is a player as well. She's going to route on the Tapeta for the first time, and Victor's really kind of cranked it up a little bit during the Royal Palm meet. So I think Grand Birdie is a major, major player in here too. It's a pretty tricky race, to be honest, in the opener. You know, we've got very, very early in the betting, but you see Rachel's Song at 5-2 as your favorite right now, and I get it, but it's going to be a spread out board, and I think if you can get through this race in the pick 5, a lot of tickets are going to go get knocked out because it is a deep kind of a spread race to me. The same can be said for race 2, and that kicks off the early pick 4. Fast main track today. We're sprinting 6.5 in here for 3-year-olds or 4 and up, which have never won 2 races. The tag is a quarter, and this is another tricky, tough race. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit with the 7 Cross Haste, but you look through this group in here, and I got to be honest, it's a tough group to trust, and who's going to fire today, who's going to regress today. You can see there's a lot of hit or miss kind of form in it amongst this group. And Cross Haste, second off the layoff, second off a barn change to Jenna Antonucci, who does a good job and who could have a pretty good day here. I'm going to talk about her unraced maiden coming up a little later on the card. But Jose Morelos, good to see him back winning races again. Unfortunate DQ yesterday, but Jose's been back in good form. He's a good young rider that is out there putting horses in the right position on a day-in, day-out basis. I think Cross Haste getting off the rail, getting to an outside attack post here as well might help this 4-year-old son of Cross Traffic. We got a class drop here. Again, should be a little tighter today. It's been working very, very well for this too. And I think the other key part of this equation is he's going to offer a lot of value in here in a race where I just find this group a little tough to trust and a little tough to latch onto. The 6 Gun Maestro, so good winning 2-back, tried turf, tried 2 turns, didn't work out last time, but now he's going to face winners for the first time on the main track off a little bit of a freshening as well. If he runs the race 2-back, he's got a huge chance in here, and it's probably the best race in here. But you look at his form, nothing else comes remotely close to that effort. So I just, quite honestly, don't know what we're going to get today. Fernando Abreu, owner-trainer here as well. And, he's in a good spot here. But, again, probably at a little bit of an underlaid price. Let's just see what we get from Gun Maestro. Bird Wildcat is 5-2 on the morning line, the second choice. And he makes a lot of sense. He's got the numbers, that stack up nicely against this group. The race on dirt, 2-back. The last time he was on dirt was a very, very strong effort. Elsa Morrison gets a live mount here. She's been in good form since coming back off the long absence at the Royal Palm meet here. But again, tough price to take on a horse that's 1 for 9 and seems to find 1 or 2 better each time. Carbonero goes off the Safi claim. I get it. 9-5 favorite on the morning line. I get that too. But back on dirt, that's going to help him. But what are you going to get today? Didn't really fire on Tapeta, and he's another one now that they claimed him, last time for 35. He's in for 25 today. So we'll see what we get. A lot of different ways you can go in here. The layoff off the claim as well is a little tricky. So I was wanting to look for value, but I'm not going to let any of these logical contenders beat me either. But Cross Haste should offer plenty of value. Race number 3, and this is one more before the break in the Big Rainbow today. Again, $100,000 in race 4. We're sprinting 5 on the Tapeta here. $35,000 maiden claimers. These are just 3-year-old fillies. I think the class drop, the maiden special weight drop has got to play out for the 8 Elat for Jose D'Angelo. It's going to second off the layoff, second off the barn change. Jose is seemingly winning 2 races every day now, and the barn's been so hot. And, I talked about it yesterday, and Jose's a high percentage trainer for many different reasons, but I think one of the main ones is he puts horses in winning spots, and that's why he wins so many races. So I think the 8 in here is in a very, very good spot. tepid favorite. I got a feeling they're going to hit her pretty good in here, and she could be a strong favorite in here. Comes out of good races. You see repeat winners or next out winners, I should say, in her races. The winner last time was a good looking as well. Second time Lasix. The post really works for her too because she's got the speed to be involved throughout, pressing the issue, so I think the 8 is in a good spot. Uncaptured Skeet is going to go on debut here, and it's right on the paper. The bullet workout on the Tapeta, 46-1. That is flying. So we'll see what we get in the afternoon. We know it's a lot different in the morning than it can be in the afternoon, but that says this horse can run a little bit. They're not giving away for 35 on debut. A daughter of uncaptured, excuse me. Barnes been quietly winning races, Raymond Minguet, so we'll see what we get today. This is a tab the tote board kind of horse as well. You'd want to see Uncaptured Skeet live and taking money. If she is, it's a very, very good sign. Forever Uncaptured, I think getting off the rail probably helps her a little bit. Chances are adding up at 0 for 6, but this is not the saltiest group we're going to see at the level. So I do think she's a player with the right kind of running style too, kind of a stalking, pressing style that typically plays very, very well in these Tapeta sprints. Jose's also got the one down inside. Morissa, the rail is a problem for me. The sprint, the cutback, and she sprinted 2 back was a pretty good effort. Doesn't seem to have a lot of early sprint speed, and that's not ideal when you're doing a 5-furlong, very, very snappy trip on the Tapeta. So I'm going to go with the other Jose in here, though. Good, solid race, though. So let's take a quick break here on Gulfstream today. When we come back, it's rainbow time. I'll have a ticket, $100,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee. Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau with you on a 9-race Sunday card. Beautiful out here. We're fast. We're firm. We've got the Tapeta in play as well. And we've got 6 races to go, and that means it's rainbow 6 time. $100,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee. They passed the guarantee comfortably yesterday. I don't see any reason why they won't do it today. It's a good, solid sequence. We kick it off. We'll have a replay on this turf race here in the 4th. My best bet of the day, I mentioned it already, is the 10 Stealth 34 in race number 6. This is that good maiden special weight I talked about. These are maiden fillies and mares 3 and up sprinting on the dirt. I'm going to use all 3 first-time starters. They seem to hold the aces in here. The proven runners don't look overly inspiring. In race number 7, you're going to get my long shot in here. The 3, She's So Bearish. 12's on the morning line. Jen Young off the claim for Potter Pop Racing. Right back against winners off a Tampa turf win. And then it's a little chaotic at the end of this card. And that's where this thing could really, really blow up. I am 4 deep in race 8 with the top pick, the 5, Viva La Red. And in race 9, this is where the big scratch occurred, is of the number 12. The 12 is out, and I would have thought the 12 would have been a pretty heavy favorite in this spot. So I think it becomes a much more of a spread race than initially it was. I always did have the 8, Once Upon a Dream, on top at a big, big price for Joe Orsino. But straight time scratching out of there for Jose D'Angelo is a big key scratch. Take note of that in the finale. It's a $57.60 ticket. I added a horse in the finale because of that scratch for additional coverage. But let's start it off here in race number 4. This is a good one. We're on the turf here, $20,000 claimer. 3 old fillies are 4 and up, which have never won 3 races. And in this spot, the 6 Kizzy in the 3, Swoonatra, raced against each other last time. We're going to bring that race up. It was 2 starts back, excuse me, but it was the last time on turf for these two. And they've been going at it literally from the opening bell. It was an intense, prolonged speed duel. You can see 46-3 on the board there. And Kizzy is going to run second. Swoonatra is going to back out of it late. This was a really, really good run by Kizzy. She took all the worst of it in here along with Swoonatra. She won the battle. She lost the war. We've seen these kind of trips time and time again, but it's significant because she was well clear of the runner-up, and the winner got the absolute dream trip in there. I'd like to think with both of those horses running since, and Swoonatra backed off a little bit last time, I don't think the riders can see what happened in that race 2 back and go at it again. Kizzy is again outside Swoonatra. I think that's beneficial for her. I like her in here getting back to turf. You know, the horse that won that race, Mandy Green, she's okay. So I think Kizzy now from an outside attack post, hopefully the flow of this race is a little different and they don't go at it hot and heavy again. Because if they do that again, if they duel for 5-6 furlongs, neither of them are going to win. French Franc on the outside is interesting for Liz Dobles. If the flow of this race heats up a little bit, she's going to have a major say in the lane. And I think she's probably the one to beat off her, current prolonged good form, now in with a very good barn. Musical Romance comes in off a win. You've heard me say it time and time again. It is never a bad thing to run in a spot like this off a W, and that's what you get with Musical Romance. And then the 4 Charge Account, little tricky, right? Was vanned off last time, back now, does have turf form. We'll see what we get for Fausto Gutierrez, who's not only been going good, but doesn't drop this horse all the way to the bottom, in for 20. So, take note of that. But I think Kizzy's in a good spot in here. Race number 5, we kick off the late pick 5. We can show the ticket because that one's altered a little bit as well. And I just want to, I'm going to have them on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But it is a rework, slight rework from what I originally had. And, this is the best bet, so we're going to single right off the bat and Stealth 34. Hopefully we get some value that way. I don't know if we're going to get it on the tote board. Off the claim for Rohan Crichton, 3 deep again. The 3 maidens in race 6, the 3 firsters, I should say, in the maiden race. She's So Bearish, my long shot. And again, the 4x4 late double. What I did was I added the 1 to the finale. Doc Ballard, that goes for the rainbow as well. Doc Ballard, the 1, is in there now for the finale for me with the big scratch of the 12. That's a $48 ticket. Race number 5, we're sprinting 5 on the Tapeta. It's clean, no scratches, no changes. My best bet of the day with the 10 Stealth 34. Rohan Croft, the claim, is a prolific move in and of itself. He's upwards of 35% now because he popped again the other day on the reclaim. Drops this horse for 12.5. That doesn't bother me in the least. Rohan, another guy, so high percentage because he just likes winning races and he puts horses in the right spots. Claim for 16, in for 12.5 today. If this horse wins, they get out if the horse is claimed. Doesn't bother me at all. We're drawn well to the outside in here. We've got enough speed not to let anybody get too far away. And there is speed to the inside, and there's a lot of it to the inside that's going to set up Stealth 34, and probably going to get bet in here pretty hard too. And that's the other reason why I wanted to single and be aggressive with a horse like this, because I just don't know if the value is going to get there in the win pool. And that way you can kind of mask it or get a little enhanced value when you're singling in your horizontals. And that's what I'll do, not only to kick off the late 5, but in that rainbow as well. Number 4, the other reason I think Stealth 34 is too tough in here is because conversely, probably the main rival is Eternal Flame, but there's issues here now. Eternal Flame is going to face winners for the first time, and he doesn't have a lot of early speed at all. And when you're running 5 furlongs on the turf, cutting back a half furlong too out of the maiden claiming win, it's tough to loop good horses or proven winners as well. And Stealth 34 was a very solid 3rd at the level, 2nd at the level, 2 back. And he's got a huge tactical edge on the 4 Eternal Flame. And I just kind of feel like Eternal Flame's going to simply run out of room. He's going to be coming hard late, but I don't I don't think he gets there. They went wildly fast in his race last time to set him up in the figure he ran that day. If you look at his form, he's had a real hard time backing up the other big figure in his form. I got to feel he comes back a little bit today, so I'm willing to fade him. Another reason why I singled. Harry's on the Beach. Listen, if Harry's on the Beach gets back to his better races, he's a player in here. I just didn't see a reason for him not to do any running last time. Maybe, the chainer switch. I don't know. Fred LeBeau's got him now for a second start. Maybe he wakes back up, but I got to see it again before I get behind Harry. Another horse without any early speed. So I think Stealth 34 is in a really good spot today. Race number 6 is that maiden special weight that I've been talking about and alluding to. Really good one here. Fillies and mares, 3 and up. We're going 6.5 on a fast main track. All three of my top picks, all 4 of my top picks. I've yet to meet the starter. They are all eligible to be good runners. And I went with the 4 for a couple different reasons. She is a 4-year-old facing the other 3 are 3-year-old fillies. I like the post here as well. And Jose D'Angelo, 21% on debut. There's a slew of works here. The last one up at Palm Meadows really says to me she's ready to roll today. And I like the post being outside what I think are probably her 2 biggest rivals, the 1 Laban, the 2 Can't Stop. Both of them, if you heard Mike Welsh with me on yesterday, said, both of them can run a little bit. So take note of that. But Ghost Force, I'm going to play her on top because of this post, because of maybe a little maturity. It's still May 21st. I think that means something to have a little maturity as a 4-year-old filly. She hasn't really missed a beat in the morning, and I just like the job Jose's been doing of late, so I'm going to put her on top. But, Lee Bond, they paid $250,000 for her. Not a lot of pedigree here, but there's also not a lot to go on either. Dam was unraced. Second foal out of the unraced Dam. The other foal was unraced. So what do we get today? I don't know, but it's Safi. It's Edgard Zayas. Again, great to see Edgard back. And, maybe there's some significance that he said, I want to come back and ride this horse today. The works don't really give anything away. But Mike said, she's been looking good in the morning. Safi, 21% on debut. And, again, they paid a lot of money for this one here. So I would think she's going to be a runner. The rail on debut is never ideal. So she's going to have to break running. We'll see what we get today. Can't Stop for Jenna Antonucci. Nice pedigree here. A daughter of Empire Maker. The Dam, 5 for 27. She won on debut. She won a grade 2 in Santa Anita, but it was going long. And as a daughter of Empire Maker, maybe she's going to need a little more distance. Yankee Gentleman on the bottom of this pedigree, though. So that says sprint. 8th foal out of the Dam. Not a lot to go on. Not too many of them were all that good. 1 for 6 on debut. So 1 did win on debut. Tote board race, to be sure. You better see the 1 live in taking money. Certainly the 4 as well. The 4 is favored on the morning line. I'm looking now. Liban is 3 and Can't Stop. They're co-3s in here. So they should all be taking money in a spot like this, and sometimes you can let the tote be your guide. If you're playing the late pick 4, certainly the late pick 5, you can see the double will pays as well. I think it's something to take note on. Race number 7, we're on a firm turf course in here, a starter, optional claimer. The filly's 3 years old. The tag is $35,000. If they're in for that tag, my long shot is in for the tag, and that is She's So Bearish. Jen Young, I think, does an underrated job off the claim, training for Powder Pop Racing, and Pete puts his horses in good spots, and he's a crafty, sharp guy. She's So Bearish. She wins at Tampa, breaks her maiden last time on the turf. Immediately, Tampa is obviously closed now. Ship her across the state. Going to run for a much, much bigger person here, above the claim price of $250. Tactical speed, a win last time, and she is certainly not beating any meeting any world beaters in here. I think She's So Bearish is very, very intriguing in here. She should be a decent number. I don't know if we're going to get 12, but even 7 or 8 to 1. I think she's in with a chance in here. Calling all angels. She's the one to beat, no doubt about it. Sometimes those close losses back-to-back like that, they rub me the wrong way a little bit. She's been beaten a neck and a head in her last 2 races, so it's twofold. Does she not want to go buy horses in deep stretch? Has she thrown it all out there on the track in her last 2 races? Does she come back a little bit today? I don't know. Bobby DeBona is a very, very high percentage trainer. 1 for 31 on the turf. So tread just a little lightly here. They're going to bet her. She's going to be an underlaid price, and I'm just, I'm not getting beat by her, that's for sure. I'm playing a big late pick 5. I'm playing a big rainbow. She's not going to beat me. I wouldn't trust her, though, either at a short or underlaid price. Cloud Storage, another one. Which way's your form going? She's been burning a lot of money of late, and she hasn't made a dent in 2 starts against winners at short underlaid odds. Tread a little lightly here as well. And the prices, this is the one scratch race. 7, 8, 10 come out of this race. So you're going to get knocked down on some prices in here as well. I want to look for value in here, and I should certainly get it with She's So Bearish. Late double time in race number 8. We go a flat 1-turn mile on that fast main track. 3-year-old fillies are 4 and up, which have never won 2. Your tag is 20 in here. Another spread race. You saw my late double, a 4x4 play. Dark kind of lands on Viva La Red. She's got to be tighter, right? Second off the layoff. We're dropping out of a good race. Rosie's Halo was good winning that race. Second off the long, long layoff. And I just wonder if maybe Team B and Cone had this spot in mind all along. They ran her in a spot last time where she was not in for a tag. We get the tightener out of the way. She's going to build off it. She's going to be much, much sharper today. And now she is in for the tag. Just maybe this is a spot they had in mind all along. Certainly I'll Believe in Magic for Ronnie Spatz is another player in here going second off the layoff. The heavy favorite, morning line favorite is the 6, Hope Over Fear, 8-5. I Believe in Magic, heavy at 8-5. Hope Over Fear at 9-2, and she's a big player as well. Is taking on winners for Fausto off the claim. The stats don't show it out anymore. This was a barn that is very, very good off the claim. This is a trainer switch. Second time out, but the first time he got a win. So, maybe she's a threat right back. Not the saltiest group we're going to see. And then I'm going to use the 8 up street as well. The finale. We're routing on the Tapeta in a 12-5 maiden claimer, a mile and a 16th. This is where the big key scratches. We do scratch the 11 Drama's Gold, but we also scratch the 12 Straight Time, what I thought would have been a pretty heavy favorite in here. That's besides the point, but she was a major player. She could have been an anchor on a lot of tickets as well. I think this race becomes a lot more competitive. I always did have the 8 Once Upon a Dream on top. Joe Orsino going to try Tapeta for the first time. We've said it here time and again that since the advent of Tapeta here at Gulfstream Park, Joe's been one of the sharper, better trainers with it. Going to try this one, second off a layoff and a barn switch. Maybe he wakes up now in a race that I think certainly there for the taking. Dunkel, he's 1 for 17. He's had his chances, but the Tapeta race 3 back, and that's the last time he's been on the surface. It's better than these, so maybe it gets it done. We saw Lifetime Maiden the other day get it done. Start number 18. We'll see from Dunkel. The 7 Blue Soldiers certainly in the mix. 0 for 10. You're kind of picking up what I'm putting down here. Another reason why I went with the 8. And then Doc Ballard is the horse I put in my ticket. Well drawn, seems to be on the improve for Steve Badu. I know 0 for 10, but just look at the 2 races with Lasix. They've been much better than anything he's done. He's well drawn down on the inside with a hint of a rating gear. Maybe he can work out a trip. Miguel Vasquez, 3 wins yesterday. Edwin, 3 wins. Gonzalez, 3 wins yesterday, too. So, food for thought in there as well. And what is now a very tricky finale. 9 races Sunday, but before we let you go, we've got a big lightning round, both not only here, but of course, Preakness 148 at Baltimore, and like we said, our buddy Mage couldn't get it done. I think a lot of things probably went against him yesterday. The quick turnaround certainly off a lifetime best race in the Kentucky Derby. And then obviously the pace of this race. The race was over after a half mile, let's be honest. And I'm not taking anything away from National Treasure and John Velasquez, who rode he rode a Hall of Fame race, and that's why he's a Hall of Fame rider. He just doled it out on the front end. He walked the dog after a half mile, and you can see it here. He would not let Blazing Sevens get by, who had every chance. Mage was a gallant third. I think that was as good as Mage could have did yesterday. It just was not his day with the complexion of the race, but I think he acquitted himself so nicely off the huge Derby win. His connections have just shown the utmost class. Can't wait to get him back here at Gulfstream Park, and, they can reap their rewards. It's been a heck of a story, and the story is not done yet. We've got championships now to win with with Mage, but kudos to the winning connections as well. John Velasquez, as I mentioned, first Preakness. 3 stakes yesterday. They were so good in here. Choose Joy finally gets over the hump from a bad post and all. She gets it done yesterday, winning the Hollywood Lakes in a desperate, boy, the runner-up ran so well. Fulminate and Talking Tipsy in here too. Did not want to let her by, but Choose Joy in the class, I think, played through. A nice job by Steve Dwoskin. What a cool horse. She's never been out of the exacta here at Gulfstream Park. You see the next one, All Class, and certainly that is Dean Delivers. How cool is he? And he took advantage of finally a little drop yesterday after running against such tough competition, and he laid over this field and he won like an odds-on favorite should. Mike Yates has just kept him in such good form. A job well done by Mike. Last, certainly but not least, what a thriller in the filly was beating the boys here in our finale, and that is the Roar Stakes. And I'll tell you what, I bet Harry Time. He was my best bet of the day. Harry Time was 3-5 off the far turn, and Wide West, to her credit, would not let him by, and they probably could have ran around again, and she wasn't going to do it. Big win, stepping up. Congratulations to her. My best bet of the day today is in race number 5. That is the 10 Stealth 34. My long shot is in race number 7. That is the 3. She's So Bearish. And we leave you on a sad note. Yesterday, we heard that we lost legendary lifelong South Florida trainer Bill Kaplan at the age of 77 years old. Bill was cut his teeth here in South Florida for over 30 years, and a phenomenal trainer. Probably him best Musical Romance, winning the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint in what was a championship season for her. You'll see her poking through down on the inside, but there was a lot more to Bill's story. He was an Army lieutenant. He won a Purple Heart. He was a great evaluator of young talent. They paid $22,000 to Musical Romance. She earned $1.6 million. She was a champion. She sold for $1.6 million as well. So our condolences to all his family and friends. Bill Kaplan, at 77 years old, passes away. And we'll send it upstairs to track announcer PIL. Not too many scratches and changes on the card. I didn't leave him a lot of time, but he doesn't have a lot of work to do. So we'll catch you in a bit for the opener.